Life, Real Crime is a true crime podcast brought to you by Woody Overton and executive producer Toby Templey.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney prior to and during any questioning. You can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. You understand your rights?
Your crime spree was over, son. Yeah, you thought you had it licked, but Detective Overton made you should have turned to shit. Get ready, you're gonna do time. Real life, real crime.
Warning. This episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, may contain descriptions of acts of violence or that are of a sexual nature. It should be for people that are 18 years or older. Heed my warning, people. I did not get the facts of these cases off of the internet or from some television show. The facts we're retelling you were presented to us by the victims of the crimes or the perpetrators who committed the crimes against the victims. My description of the crime scenes are what I saw with my own two eyes. If you're gonna get offended, please turn this podcast off now. Thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And as always, I'm your host, Woody Overton. And I love and appreciate each and every one of y'all. Thank you so much for liking and sharing us and helping us grow. Patron members, thank you so much for your support. I really, really appreciate it. And as in the previous weeks on Nanny Not, you can go to the patron-only page on Facebook, If Your Vandalism, tear it up, and all of these documents will be scanned in. And look, there's a shitload of them, y'all, that I'm not even, looking at a bunch of supplemental reports and everything. But we're just going to get straight into the episode. Stay tuned at the end of today's episode for some more announcements. When I left y'all last time, Mr. Kearney Foster, who was chief of detectives at the time for the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office, and Jennifer Smith Love, the FBI agent, were interviewing Evelyn McKnight about the death of baby Matthew Populus, okay? So if you haven't listened to the other previous episodes, go back and listen to them. Now I'm going to get straight back into the interrogation, y'all. And here we go. And yes, I am reading this because I want you to hear this lying bitch and get to hear some investigators actually work a perp, if you will, what I call a perp. So they were talking about the life insurance policies or possible life insurance policies on the baby, y'all. And Evan had just ended it saying that she thought Robin Populus, Matthew's mama, had taken out a insurance policy on the baby. So the FBI agent, Jennifer Love, says, and okay, y'all, if you didn't listen last week, I'm gonna say FBI, that's Jennifer Love asking the question. If I say McKnight, that's her responding. Or if I say Foster, that's Mr. Kearney Foster asking the question. Sorry, back to it. Love asked, now, is this your understanding that there are two life insurance policies out on this baby and that Robin was the person who took them out? McKnight says, it's to my understanding there is two, but the only one I know of that Robin took out, that she said she took out, is hers. I don't know about the one. FBI interrupts. Okay, you don't know if he took out any? McKnight says no. Foster, one other question. Do you know where evidence is in this house or put anywhere or gone anywhere that we may need to collect? McKnight says no. Foster, you know what we're talking about, evidence like clothes, shirts, blankets, shoes, anything. McKnight, Anything that belongs to the baby is, if it was clean. If I had washed it, it would be in that little dresser in his room as far as clothes. If it was dirty, it would be in the washroom. Foster. All right. Describe the articles of clothing or cover that was missing from your house. McKnight. Now, I haven't went in there and looked through everything. I know what the baby had on when he went to bed. I know what he had on when he was running around here that morning. Foster. Describe it. McKnight. It was a little onesie, a little t-shirt thing you pull over, and it snaps between the legs. It should have had yellow trim around the collar and yellow around the legs, and maybe like a little bunny or some kind of little picture right here on the front of it. The blanket that Rodney said that he's seen Matt left in is a multicolored blanket. It's like a big blanket. It's like an oval-shaped blanket, and it's got a little trim around it, and it's like a little silk border that made it a little bit rougher, and it's like a heavy knitted type blanket. FBI. What color is it? What is the color? McKnight. It's like multicolors. It's not like maybe pinks and green and yellow and blue, knitted into white. FBI. I want to back up to what time you said your husband left that Friday to go to work. About what time was it? McKnight. He gets up at 10 till 5, and he's usually gone by 5:15.
Real life, real crime.
Hey, y'all. Who doesn't love everything Disney, right? But the hassle of planning those trips. Well, let me take out that equation for you right now. You can use Middle of the Magic Travel, and Miranda Reynolds Powell is a travel agent that is an authorized Disney planner. And what sets her apart from other agents is that she specializes in Disney destinations and has over 30 trips that give her the first-hand experience. Booking your vacation with Miranda will give you first-class concierge service that is complimentary to all clients with no additional fees. You will pay the same costs that you pay directly with Disney without having the added stress of planning it all yourself. From booking dinner reservations to curating custom itineraries for all traveling parties, Miranda is there to help or plan as much or as little as her clients need. While being able to book any Disney destination across the world, she's also able to book universal resorts as well. Her passion for planning grows with every client that she gets to service, and she can't wait to get you into the magic. When anyone mentions Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, when they book with Miranda, they will receive extra pixie dust to their vacation. This includes in-room arrival gifts that will be delivered to their resort room. Each pixie dust edition will be specialized and catered to each client's unique vacation. So that's Middle of the Magic Travel with Miranda Reynolds Powell. And she can be reached at Miranda@middleofthemagictravel.com. That's Miranda@middleofthemagictravel.com. FBI. And do you remember about what time it was when Rodney came in here and woke you up and said and told you what happened? McKnight. It should have been right around, I would think around 8 or right close to 8. FBI. Now let me ask you this. Who decided then that what did you and Rodney discuss about how you were going to account for this missing baby? McKnight. We didn't discuss how we were going to account for it. We just went, laid in his bed, and we cried, and we didn't know what to do. The first thing I thought of, Rodney had said, Mama, what they going to do to us, to me? And I said, they're not going to do you anything. I'm not going to let them do you anything because you haven't done anything. We never, with no plan or no scheme, all we done was we didn't know that was the only thing we could say, I just told, you this, say you don't know if anybody asks you. Just say you don't know. FBI. And so how was it that who discovered that the baby did you and Rodney announce that the baby was missing? Or how did that come about? McKnight. Oh, FBI. Or on the morning, yes. McKnight. No, I think Rodney had got up and went in there, or maybe my little girl Amanda had come in here, but they were looking for Matt, and that's how it came about, and that he was missing. And then I remember seeing, got up and went into the kitchen, and everybody started looking for Bobby and looking for the baby. That's how it all came about, that the baby was missing. And that's how everybody becomes aware that he was missing. FBI. And can we say that you was, where was Bobby at now when everybody gets up and McKnight? We was outside, and I don't know just where at, but I was told that he was outside by the thing where crabs is out there. But I didn't go outside. I went to the bar in the kitchen, and I came back and I got back in the bed. FBI. And during the confusion that was going on, did Bobby ever say anything about the baby being missing? McKnight. No, not to me. FBI. And so who described that the baby had just walked off, and that was agreed to tell the police?
Real life, real crime.
Hey y'all, I don't know about you, but I get fed up dealing with my doctor's office and the prescriptions every month. I never know if the doctor has called in the prescription, when the prescription is going to be filled, am I going to run out ahead of time, etc. So I'm stoked to tell you about Amazon Pharmacy. Amazon Pharmacy saves you time and deliver medication directly to your door, so no more waiting in line at the pharmacy. You can choose between 30 and 90-day supplies. And if you're a Prime member, then you can get 6 months worth of prescription medication. And Amazon Pharmacy saves you money. Comparing your med prices with and without insurance is fast and easy. Prime members can get meds for as low as $1 a month when paying without insurance. And you just have your doctor's office send your next prescription straight to Amazon Pharmacy. And Amazon Pharmacy works with most insurance plans nationwide. Amazon Prime members, don't forget that free 2-day delivery and save on prescription medication when paying without insurance. So, y'all, it's simple, it's easy. I no longer have to worry every single month whether my medicine's going to be there. Amazon Pharmacy is outstanding. The customer service is outstanding. Get it guaranteed. Take the guesswork out. Run less errands. Let Amazon do the work for you. And Amazon Prime members can save on prescription medication when not using insurance with medication as low as $1 a month plus free 2-day delivery. Learn more at amazon.com/RLRC. That's amazon.com/RLRC. Amazon.com/RLRC. McKnight. I don't know. I never decided that. I guess it was just everybody thought the baby had walked off. FBI. But that was not the case. McKnight. I knew that it wasn't. FBI. And you knew what happened to Matt, to the baby. And what was that? McKnight. That my son was made to ride with Bobby, and that evidently he had hurt the baby or killed the baby here, and he threw the baby over a bridge rail somewhere near Springfield. FBI. Did Rodney ever tell you that he hurt the baby? McKnight. Yeah, he never told me that. FBI. Did he see Bobby kill the baby? McKnight. No, he never told me that he's seen inaudible. FBI. Do you know that Rodney hurt the baby? Did Rodney tell you he hurt the baby? McKnight. No, he never told me he hurt the baby. He didn't hurt the baby. I know, y'all. I know he wouldn't hurt that baby. Foster. Did he say Bobby hurt the baby? McKnight. He said Bobby done it, so, so. Foster. Done what? McKnight. Threw him over the bridge rail, so. Foster. But what did he do to him before he threw him over the bridge rail? That's what we're interested in. McKnight. He never told me that he saw Bobby do anything other than that Bobby's pants down, playing with himself in the living room. He said that when he got back up the second time and looked out, inaudible, maybe he knew Bobby might have been taking him out of here. I don't know, but he said Foster. But when he went in there the first time, did he notice the baby was dead then? McKnight. He didn't tell me that he knew he was dead. Foster. That's when he got into bed with you, though, the first time, huh? McKnight. What? Foster. He got into bed with you twice, didn't he? McKnight. Yeah, but when he came in and got into bed, he never said the baby was dead. He never said anything, Foster. But he told you what Bobby was doing in there, inaudible. Now, I must have misunderstood something. I understand that Rodney went in there and saw him doing it and came back in there and told you about it in the bed. FBI. Did he tell, after he saw Bobby with his pants down, did he immediately leave out of the living room and come and say, Mama, Bobby got his pants down? McKnight. No. FBI. When did you find out about that Bobby had his pants down playing with himself? McKnight. When he came back, when he got back from in her car, when everything was over with, when he had gotten Foster. No, don't think about it now. You're getting ready to mess up. Think about what you're saying. FBI. Okay, let's go back. When Rodney went inside the living room to turn off the TV, and he had already been in bed with you one time, is that correct? McKnight. Mm-hmm. FBI. He gets there the second time. He goes in to turn off the television because he had put the baby down. Is that correct? McKnight. Yeah. FBI. So he puts the baby is asleep, and you tell him he's already in the bed with you, and you tell him that if the baby is asleep, go turn the TV off. McKnight. FBI. And so he goes and turns the TV off, and he sees Bobby in the living room with his pants down masturbating. McKnight. And he told me then. FBI. He told you right then? McKnight. He told me then. He never once said that Bobby was doing anything to the baby. Foster. Let me ask you something. And you're going to be asked this a lot. Why didn't you get up and go in there and do something? McKnight. I didn't know what to do. I mean, I was not allowed to get out of bed. I wasn't supposed to get out of bed. When he said that Bobby was inaudible, he said, Mama, I just went in there and Bobby had his pants down playing with himself. And I said, well, what did you do? And he said, I just turned off the TV and came back in here. And I said, well, where was Matt? He said he was asleep. At first, I just assumed maybe Bobby was just playing with himself. And look, that's all I could say, that he was just masturbating. FBI, did you? And then McKnight cuts her off. McKnight says, and Rodney had seen it, and why I didn't get up and go in there and see if maybe he was doing something to the baby. But the only reason that I could think of and that I wouldn't have got up and went and looked is because I never in this world would have thought that he would do anything to the baby. Foster. In other words, you didn't hear the baby crying? McKnight. No, I never heard the baby crying. FBI. When was the last time you heard that baby? And you think about this hard. When was the last time you said the baby was up and down the hall? In reference to Rodney getting in bed with you, when was the last time Was it the first time he got in bed with you? You never heard that baby crying? Or was it the second time? When was it the second McKnight? Very first time he came and got into bed with me after. Hey ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through, premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore, because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone support and supplement. It's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC. Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts to spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser-cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdown scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill, and calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday hosts and hostess gift to the coolest finds for kids, to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary. After seeing the baby playing, and after I couldn't hear exactly what was saying or going on in the living room, I could hear like little muffles playing around in the living room. That was the very last time that I heard the baby. Foster, what time was that? Kind of went over my head then. When was this now? The last time you heard him, that was before Rodney ever got in the bed with you? McKnight. No. Rodney had come and got in the bed, in and out the bed, not to lay down and go to sleep, because he went in and out of my room and, to sit on the bed in and out. But it was when Rodney had come in here. I don't know if he came in here for about the food or the car wash or whatever, but I had heard them in the living room playing around, and had seen them in here. That was the very last time I heard the baby, Foster. And that's another thing. Rodney actually did pull the car on the carport one time and then put it back out there before all this happened. McKnight. That's what he said. He said he pulled on the carport or maybe up to the carport, but I do know that he wanted to wash the car, and that's the only where we wash it. It's on the rocks. I have washed it in the carport. Foster. Did that actually happen? McKnight. That actually happened. I was awake. I know that actually happened.
Real life, real crime.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you about EveryPlate again. Getting dinner on the table used to be a challenge. Now let EveryPlate plan, shop, and deliver everything you need to cook a delicious meal at a delightful price. Recipes come together in about 30 minutes, definitely faster than a trip to the grocery store and starting a meal from scratch. EveryPlate provides easy-to-follow recipe cards and pre-proportioned ingredients so you can spend less time prepping and cooking and more time enjoying good food with your family or loved ones. And EveryPlate's subscription service is much cheaper than the other ones that are out there. And look, I've been using it for almost a year and a half now, y'all, and I loved every single meal we get. Cindy and I can cook it together in the kitchen in no time and have more time for family fun. The last one, and probably one of my most favorites thus far, was a pork and poblano tacos. It came with all the ingredients of poblano peppers, tomatoes, garlics, Southwest spice, jalapenos, lime, ground pork, sour cream, and 6 flour tortillas. It cooked in 6 simple steps, saving tons of time, tons of money. The food is better than restaurant quality because we do it ourselves and cook it, and it's cheaper, y'all. Cheaper than anybody else. Try EveryPlate for just $1.99 per meal, plus an additional 20% off your next 2 boxes by going to everyplate.com and entering code RLRC199. Try EveryPlate for just $1.99 per meal, plus an additional 20% off your next 2 boxes by going to everyplate.com and entering code RLRC199. That's up to $100 value, y'all. And I love EveryPlate. I love to see those boxes when they come to the door. I know I'm saving money and I'm saving time and providing a better meal and a better meal experience for my family. Foster. And then after that is when the baby left with the baby then. McKnight. After that, yeah. Foster. And you think, how do you know it was what you say 10 minutes to 8? How do you know it was 10 minutes to 8 or 8 o'clock when they came back? Did they come inaudible? McKnight. I don't know exactly what time. I just said it should have been around 8 o'clock. It seems like it was around 8 o'clock because my mama had called and talked to Rodney. She had called earlier and talked to him, and then she called back and said that because my mom was supposed to have come around 9 or 10 that morning because she hadn't seen me since I got out of the hospital. But it seemed to be around 8 when my mama called, and I've even asked her over and over after all this had taken place, what time did she around that time call? She says she called around 8. I don't know if it could still be on my caller ID. I think it's supposed to hold up to 100 numbers. Maybe it's still on there. You can check it. But it seemed to be around 8. Maybe a little later, maybe a little earlier. I'm not sure because I did not look at the clock to see. FBI. Now let me ask you this. After Rodney gets into bed with you, after they had gone and thrown the baby over the bridge, did you fall back asleep? McKnight. No. And I haven't been sleeping since. Last night and this morning is the very first time I've been able to lay down and go to sleep. And it's not because I feel like justice has been done. I feel like he's out of my house and that baby is out of the river. And this is the only time last night, it's the only time since all this happened I've been able to sleep inside my heart and Rodney's, and that I've been able to sleep any at all. Foster. Has Rodney ever told you any discrepancies in the story, a little different or anything? McKnight, no, he's never told me anything. He has never told me he actually seen Foster and when. McKnight, what Bobby done or if he done anything. FBI, with going back to when Rodney told you that you say Bobby in the living room playing with himself and the baby was in there, weren't you concerned about were you concerned about the child's welfare? He had been left in your care and custody. McKnight, yes, I'm always concerned about him, but Bobby has never hurt anybody here, and I've never seen him do anything physically to any little child, mine, not any kid. So the only thing I thought of, is, Bobby is a little off, and he don't have a wife or girlfriend. I figure it's early morning, he just may have just woke up with the urge to masturbate. I never once thought that he would harm that baby. I just, assumed that he was doing that and the baby was asleep, and I thought to myself, God, that's disgusting. But I just never once thought that he would have, done anything to that baby. FBI, has Rodney ever told you that he touched him in any kind of way? McKnight, no. FBI, or harmed him in any way? McKnight, no. FBI, what about your other two children? McKnight, no, they never mentioned it. FBI, and was there ever concern? And did you ever have that concern? McKnight, never. Now I do. I never have them before. Foster, do you have any objections to having a doctor check them? McKnight, I want them checked. I want all three of them checked. Foster, okay. I would ready for a closed taped interview at this time. It's 5 minutes to 1. FBI, but before we conclude, Evelyn, for the final time, have you told us everything that you know about the disappearance of Matthew Populus and any involvement that your son or Bobby had in that incident? McKnight, I have told you everything. FBI, and then the things that you've told us, they've been truthful to the best of your knowledge? McKnight, to the very best of my knowledge, as of this very minute, I have told y'all the truth, the honest truth from the bottom of my heart, and I'll be willing to take a polygraph, anything to prove my son's innocence and my innocence, and to have justice served and to get all this over with so that the baby can finally have peace and final rest in place and it's over with. Foster, that would be the conclusion of this tape taken at Miss Easley's residence. End of statement. All right, y'all. This is where we're at. On any kind of interrogation like that, Mr. Kearney and Jennifer Love with the FBI, they had the information from the cousin. I said cousin, was actually the nephew and the niece, that Evelyn McKnight had went to the guy and was like, hey, you got to call these people. And she made up a lie about somebody else, telling her about the baby being kidnapped and thrown over the bridge. And the dude was like, really? Why didn't you call the cops? Long story short, they knew this before they went out there to interview her. Now, you got to remember, she's still supposed to be on bed rest, okay, because she just had surgery. So that's the only reason they didn't drag her ass in to a squad room, I can promise you that, or into the detective's office and do it. So, because you never really want to have that kind of interview on the suspect's turf, if you will. You want to get them out of their own environment. But basically, she's now blaming it on Bobby Jordan, the guy in the house. And she puts her own son in on it, all right? Saying that Bobby Jordan forced her son to ride in the car with the baby and that he threw the baby over the bridge, the big bridge. So what happens immediately? All right, so they're going to conclude this tape statement, and Kearney's going to go outside, and he's going to call Willie and say, hey, look, it's going to be the Highway 42 bridge outside of Springfield. The baby told Evelyn said the baby being that Rodney described going across a couple small bridges and then turn around and then a big one, which would have been the Tickfall River, y'all. And then they went down, turned around, and came back and threw the baby, Bobby Jordan threw the baby over the bridge and something else. So what happens? Going back into the search mode, Willie gets that information. He calls. He already had information that the baby was thrown off a bridge somewhere off 42, so he had people looking. Now it's late in the evening time, but they converge on the Tickfall River Bridge on Highway 42, and they secure it as a crime scene. They would have shut down the roadway. They would have started searching. Now let me describe the Tickfall River to you. Tickfall River is navigable only by like small boat, like a canoe or whatever. It's a very, very shallow in a lot of places. Has a lot of down trees. When I say river, y'all, it's not a river. It's more like a creek. Maybe 30 yards across in some spots, right? And so where this bridge is at, it has a couple bends in the river, in that it's every time it rains, the river almost floods and it comes up and goes down accordingly. But basically it's a shallow river, and there's few deep holes, around some of the bends and stuff like that. But there's a lot of trees that have fallen into the river and stuff like that. So by the time they get there and secure it and they search around the bridge, it's getting dark. All right. And so the next morning, they still had it secured. The next morning, they get everybody out there, all the dive teams. And I think it was actually, let me look it up. It was actually a Baton Rouge PD officer on a jet ski that was approximately, and I know the newspaper articles and stuff say the baby was found a mile down the river. It was approximately a mile and a half, and they found him tangled up in one of those fallen down trees in the treetop, and he was naked. Now, let's talk about that for a second, okay? A body that's freshly dead is going to sink.
Real life, real crime.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you about Puridy. It's Puridy Debt Solutions. How many of us have racked up credit card debt in the past year? If you have over $10,000 in credit card or personal loan debt, you need to listen up. Puridy Debt Solutions has a program to stop the interest and fees while lowering your monthly payments to pay off your debt fast. I get it. I've run up the credit cards before. You run up one because something happens, and before you know it, you have two or three that are run up, and you're paying the monthly minimum. Well, meanwhile, all those interest rates from the different cards are adding up, and they're killing you, right? Well, Puridy Debt has a solution for it. And the types of debt accepted include credit cards, personal loans, collections, and medical debt. You must have $10,000 in debt to qualify. No minimum credit score required. Bad and fair credit accepted. If you're making payments every month on your credit cards and your balances aren't going down, this program is for you. PDS Debt rolls all of your payments into one low 0% interest monthly payment. Customers save thousands in interest and fees while paying their debt off in a fraction of the time. The average American credit card debt over $10,000 ends up paying 2.5 times back what they originally spent. www.pdsdebt.com/ROAST has a 60-second debt assessment that gives them everything they need to customize the perfect program for you. Puridy Debt Solutions is offering a $25 Visa gift card to our qualified listeners just for completing the quick and easy debt assessment at www.pdsdebt.com/RLRC. That's www.pdsdebt.com/RLRC. Take back your financial freedom today by visiting pdsdebt.com/RLRC. For me, for that baby to float down the river, and that's not a fast moving river and stuff, y'all. I mean, it's you know, it had been hot and dry and the river wasn't up or anything. But I mean, for the baby to be almost 1.5 miles down the river floating before he got hung in the treetops, that tells me the baby had air in his lungs. That Matthew Populus was still alive when he was thrown off the bridge. But they found him, and they recovered his body and bring him out. Now, multiple things are going to happen at this point. One, based off of Evelyn McKnight's statements, they got an arrest warrant for Bobby Jordan for first-degree murder. And they went and arrested his ass, okay? He immediately lawyers up. He's got a lawyer. I think his name was Peck. I can't remember what his lawyer's name was, but he immediately lawyers up. They book him in for the first-degree murder of baby Matthew Populus, the 22-month-old, right? And throwing him off the bridge. The media is in a frenzy. And then it comes out that Bobby Jordan had been out there every day, you know, helping the search teams look for the baby. And if that's the case and he actually did kill the baby, that's fucked up, right? But we've seen how many times you hear that on these big cases where the actual killers interject themselves into the investigation, whether it's by, you know, calling in tips or helping search for the body and stuff like that. But his ass goes to jail. But it doesn't stop there. Okay? I mean, why is Evelyn changing her story? Why didn't Evelyn get the fuck up and go see why Bobby Jordan is jacking off on this baby? Why didn't Evelyn tell anybody for almost a week? All right? I'm going to tell you why Evelyn told. Evelyn told because she knew that Rodney was scheduled for a polygraph. And she was afraid of what Rodney was going to go in there and say to the polygraphist, which was Don Zulke. That polygraph is still scheduled, but let's talk about the autopsy, okay? And y'all have the full deal autopsy report. It will be put up on Patreon, and it's way, way more shit than I'm ever going to read to you. The base facts of it are just bad. All right, the autopsy was actually done by Dr. Emil Laga, L-A-G-A. He's a forensic pathologist. And the final diagnosis, I'm going to read it to you, okay? And then we'll talk about it. Final diagnosis, and this is the autopsy of Matthew Populus, 22 months old. Subject with blunt trauma to the head, allegedly thrown in the Tickfall River, possibly alive, aspirating swallowed mud, possibly resulting in acute asphyxiation due to drowning. Final investigative report to follow. Object inflicting the blunt trauma, no information available. Impacted right lateral calibrium, measuring approximately 3 inches. External signs: macerated body, moderate to severe. Predominantly the left side, thick red-gray mud staining. That's where he would have came. That's another reason, y'all, that you know that he floated and was alive, because that he's talking about the baby would have been stuck in that tree on his left side like that, and that's where the lividity would have set in if he hadn't been decomposing. Body scavenging by...
Hey, y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glace, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something. And all the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference Gobble will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes, plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin-baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/real life. That's GOBBLE.com/real life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had. Marine animals, preorbital, perinasal, perioral, and perigenital severe. Fly, larva, egg infestation of scavenged regions. Sublingual fingertip cyanosis severe. Conjunctional cerebral jaundice, not elevated. Conjunctional bulbar petechia, not elevated. Open mouth without protruding tongue. Diffused oral, something I can't read it out. And mud staining. No froth, mucus, vomitus, blood exiting from mouth or nose, and none existing on the compression of the chest, 90-degree tilting of the body. All right, let me get a little more into the actual report. Let me just sum it up for you. Basically, the baby had severe trauma to the head, approximately a 3-inch angle. And what sticks out to me, and I haven't read it, and I'm not going to take the time, is just like a 30-page report. It'll be a whole nother episode. Basically, on the autopsy, they bring you in and they take him out of the bag and photograph him, and then they work the body from head to toe. They found that the 3-inch wound to his head, but they also found it appeared it was to the side of the face, and the baby's teeth had been knocked into his gums. 2 of his teeth had been knocked by the blunt force trauma. All right, and it was found out for sure when they cut open the body. They got into the lungs. The lungs had mud and water in them, which means Matthew was breathing. They would send this mud off to LSU or wherever to be tested, and the water, and it's confirmed as water and mud from that, from the Tickfall River. So the baby, maybe he was knocked out, I don't know, but he damn sure wasn't dead when he was thrown into the water. All right, and he got knocked hard and with enough force to knock his teeth basically loose into his mouth and crush his head. I don't know. It's fucked up. It was really fucked up. They could have taken him to the hospital. People still would have gone to prison, but they could have taken him to the hospital. But he threw him, or somebody threw him into the water. Okay?
Real life, real crime.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you about Alpha Fence Company. It's owned by Steve and Jason, and the number is 225-432-6293. Y'all, I was looking for a fencing company to do my backyard because my dogs kept getting out. Steve and Jason came in and did a phenomenal job. The work is
top-notch, first class, and my dogs can no longer get out. But it's part custom wood privacy fence, and the rest is wire, chain link with a solar-powered electrical line around the bottom of it to keep the dogs off of it. So they did a great job, and I totally recommend them. Y'all give them a call. They do custom wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, aluminum fence, chain link fence, net wire, and they service the areas of Livingston, East Baton Rouge Parish, Ascension Parish, Tangipahoa Parish, St. Tammany Parish, and other parishes. So call them today for your free estimate. It's Steve and Jason at 225-432-6293. And you mentioned Real Life, Real Crime for 5% off any work that they do for y'all. Again, they did first class work for me. I couldn't be happier. So give Steve and Jason at Alpha Fence Company a call for all your fencing needs. Thank you. Big ass autopsy report will be put up on the Patreon only page, and I'm not getting into it today because it's too much stuff. Now, the story's not over. It's really just beginning. All right. So Rodney, Mr. Kearney's not going to get off on it. He's not just going to take Evelyn's word after all this time and be like, oh, yeah, well, bitch, case closed. But now Bobby had to be arrested. I mean, they have way more than probable cause off of Evelyn's statement. So what they do is they get Rodney in and they want to interview him now about what happened. And Rodney said almost verbatim what Evelyn had said. He said that he got him out of the bed. He got Matthew out of the bed, put him in there to watch cartoons, and he came in and asked her about washing the car, and he moved the car, and he moved it back in. Now, meanwhile, y'all, Evelyn and Rodney don't know the neighbors saw that car coming back from east, which is the direction where the bridge would have been, or the way they would have had to travel to the bridge to throw the baby off. And, you know, so you got a lot more stuff. Then the guy called in about the burn baby and all that. I mean, it's stuff that you're putting together as an investigator step by step. They want Rodney in, all right? And they want to polygraph him with Don Zulke. I told you in the previous episode, it's just the best. And so they get him in. Rodney goes through the whole pre-test interview, y'all, on the polygraph and tells the same story. And then, man, I actually have the report. 1 second. This one, I don't normally like to read reports, but this is kind of cool for me because Zulke was kind of my idol. Just like getting to read Mr. Kearney's interrogation thing was priceless to me because, you know, obviously he was my mentor and pretty much taught me everything that I knew. So to get to read him working a big case, you know, with the FBI is priceless. But so I'll just sum it up for you. They would have brought him in. He's 12, almost 13 years old, and Zulke's very, very good. And so he goes through, you know, he has to get the waiver for the Rodney to be able to take the polygraph, and he goes through, and Rodney sticking to the story, right? And says the same thing Evelyn said, you know, about him masturbating, and then he goes back out there, and he sees Bobby carrying something towards the car, right? He goes out and said, what are you doing? And he sees Bobby's got the baby, Matthew, wrapped up in a blanket, and supposedly Bobby makes him get in the car. They drive down the road, past a couple smaller bridges, and then hit the big bridge, and he turned around and he threw the baby out, and they came back home. Takes the polygraph test. The relevant questions would have been, you know, regarding if he was being truthful about his statements about Bobby Jordan, regarding if he saw anybody hurt the baby, and if he saw anybody throw the baby out the bridge. Well, guess what happened? Rodney fails the test, and he failed it miserably. Okay? Who's lying? So what do? They now want to schedule Evelyn for a polygraph, which would have been 2 days later, y'all. But they also scheduled Rodney for another polygraph. Let me back up for a second. There's a couple more side notes I want to tell, and then I probably do one more episode on this. A couple more side notes. This is so fucked up. And I got to dig. 1 second. All right, I'm just going to tell you because I can tell you off the top of my head. When they pulled him out of the river and they told Matthew's grandmother about it, she drops dead from a heart attack upon hearing the news. So when they go to bury or go to do the wake for Matthew after the body's released and all, they actually did a double wake for the grandmother and the baby at the same time, at the same funeral home. It's fucked up. I mean, it's just bad. And I know other cases I've had where family members have died when, they get the news and stuff like that, but not like, I can only think of one other one where the baby was displayed with a parent, but never had one where the baby was displayed with a grandparent for the wake. So the autopsy, y'all, again, the autopsy comes back, the initial findings, the water in the lungs, and it'll be later on confirmed that the mud, can you imagine that? A 22-month-old, you severely injured, your teeth are knocked out, you got a 3-inch fracture in your head, and then some asshole throws you off a bridge, whoever it was, throws you off a bridge and leaves you in a hot July summer for almost a week before they have a conscience, or somebody gets a conscience and tells what they actually know. Well, I submit to you that the only reason the bitch said anything is because she knew Rodney was going to be polygraphed and she was afraid Rodney would spill the beans, okay? And so she tries to get out in front of it. I mean, she goes over there and begs her nephew to make it happen. And she got what she wanted. She got the polygraph delayed. She throws the shade on Bobby Jordan. Bobby Jordan's arrested. National media, y'all, keep that in the context again. The national media everywhere, and now they are really blowing it up. Bobby Jordan arrested, first-degree murder. He's been, he's the live-in friend of the common law husband and sleeps on the couch and was masturbating over the baby and, evidently, oh, shit, I'm going to tell you this. I forgot because I didn't go and read the whole autopsy report. They said baby Matthew's bowels were extended outside of his rectum, possible sign or probable sign of sexual abuse, like being raped, right? I mean, if you're going to rape a 22-month-old, you're going to tear him up, right? So that did kind of give credence to the Bobby Jordan theory, but they couldn't say for certainty because the baby had been in the water for so long, any of that evidence had been washed away, but it appeared it could have been from being raped anally, but they couldn't rule out for certain that it was part of the decomposition process. But, I mean, everything was leaning to the baby was raped. So the theory was that Bobby Jordan was, or somebody, but the theory at the time was Bobby Jordan was raping the baby and that he killed him and then threw his body in the river to wash away any evidence of his crime. But that's not all the story, y'all. I got some more to tell, okay? And it's just, it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. But I've got to tell it in these parts to do it justice. And otherwise, I'd forgot to like that part about the autopsy just then. It's going to get worse. And the very end conclusion is just the absolute worst of it all. And I will conclude it on the next episode. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to conclude it on the next episode. And again, all this documentation will be put up. And there's so much stuff, y'all. And remember also the couple that I talked about on the prelude, Nanny Not, that were the nanny had the baby and returned it home, and the parents thought the baby had fell and hurt itself the first time. They took it to the emergency room. Next time, nanny brings the baby back or whatever, and they end up going to the emergency room, she ended up taking it to the emergency room. And long story short, they weren't supposed to leave it with the neighbor, and they did the next night, whatever, and the baby ends up brain dead. They got arrested. And spent 8 fucking months in jail, and they never put it together that the nanny on that case was Evelyn McKnight also. And they were told by Child Protective Services that the only babysitter they could use was Evelyn McKnight. Now, the baby that got burned up in Independence, that lived, got burned up, and the doctor said no way in hell it walked in the wall heater. That babysitter or that nanny was Evelyn McKnight. So you got a history, right? I mean, talking like late 80s, then early 90s, 92 or something, when the baby is murdered in Tangipahoa Parish, and those parents went to jail for 8 months and lost their other daughter behind it. And so they would end up hearing about the baby going missing from Evelyn's and all that, and Bobby Jordan being arrested for murder. But I think that's when they put 2 and 2 together. So anyway, we'll conclude it next week, y'all. And real quick announcements. Thank you again for liking us and sharing us. And we have all our social media pages. Instagram is at Real Life, Real Crime, or at Overton Woody. We have all our Facebook pages, all the podcast stuff I'm supposed to say. Please like us and leave us a review if you get a chance, and on iTunes or wherever you listen to the podcast. One important thing, I think this will probably be the last week that y'all get to hear it, or may already pass. The voting for the podcast, People's Choice Podcast Awards, ends the last day of July. Okay, the regular voting. So if you would, please, if you haven't already, go to www.podcastawards.com, and you have to enter an email and a passcode or password. And I'm under, I think, 4 different categories, but it's for, you can scroll to best male host of a podcast and scroll down in Real Life, Real Crime. Then the best true crime podcast, and scroll down to Real Life, Real Crime, click on it, and then storytelling and drama, which is I won it for in 2019. Please go on there and click and scroll down to Real Life, Real Crime. And then I think the most influential podcaster, there's a spot for that, and if you're so inclined, you can check my name. But also my good buddy Jim Chapman, Local Leaders Podcast. Please, he's under the Best Male Host and under Business Podcasts. And look, you got to get to business before you get to any of the other rest of mine. So take a second and go in there and click on him. He's a great friend to us at Real Life, Real Crime. And it's a real honor for him to be nominated, and hopefully he gets to bring it home. So that's it. Live shows again, April 25th. It will. This is probably you're going to get this probably after that, but April 25th at Le Chien, Buddy's Barbecue will be there providing the food. I'm going to do the meet and greet. Le Chien on a Sunday from 4 to 8. They got the best beer, and it's going to be local support and local, y'all. And then August 14th, I don't know if there'll be any tickets left by the time you hear this. I'm going to do a show in Arlington, Texas at the Legal Draft Beer Company. And it's a brewery that's owned by some lawyers, y'all. So everything in there is named after law stuff. It's supposed to be a really cool venue. 200 people. Get your tickets at eventbrite.com. Come and see us. If you're coming from out of town, we're staying at the Hilton Garden Inn on Lamar in Arlington. Use the code RLRC and get your discount. September 25th, High Tones, Memphis, Tennessee. I'm doing another show, and it's going to be an even smaller crowd, like 150 people. It's supposed to be an awesome venue. All those tickets, I think, are just a flat fee of $35, but you can get them at EveryPlate.com. And, of course, the Crew Bash is February 4th and 5th for the VIP ticket holders. And go to EveryPlate.com and get those. And we'll be staying at the same Hilton at the Capitol Center. Use the code RLRC and get your discount. So I'm not going to take any more of your time. I will finish this next week. And be a hero. If you are in Brazil and you listen to Real Life Real Crime, you're listening to me, whip out your phone, go to LOPA.org, LOPA.org, sign up to be an organ donor. It takes like 2 minutes. Be a hero, give the gift of life. And they're a nonprofit. They do a lot of other great stuff, research and stuff like that, y'all. So be a hero, give the gift of life, sign up to be an organ donor. And I'm Woody Overton, the host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And until next time or ever, don't let me catch you down on Murder by You. Peace.
Get ready, you're gonna do time. Real life, real crime.
Real Life, Real Crime is a true crime podcast brought to you by Woody Overton and executive producer Toby Templey.